Welcome to another episode of Ruff Talk VR, a weekly podcast with in-depth game reviews, exclusive developer interviews, and the latest MetaQuest and virtual reality news. We join our hosts, the father-son team of D. Scruffles and Stratus today, as they spend another episode breaking down and discussing the world of virtual reality.
Hey, welcome to this episode of Ruff Talk VR. Today we're coming at you with another edition of news, and there's plenty to talk about this week. I mean, the big one, for me at least, is Walkabout Mini Golf's new DLC course, completing the Jules Verne trilogy around the world in 80 days.
Oh.
So we'll get into our thoughts on that. But we have a habit of rambling about Walkabout Mini Golf. We love it so much. So let's get through the news first and then take an ad break. And then after that, we'll come back in with our Walkabout Mini Golf thoughts.
Making it painful.
Yeah. What would you prefer, the inverse?
No, I can deal.
Yeah, so if you're, well,
I'll deal.
That way, you know, hey, there might be some people here just for the Walkabout Mini Golf, so got to keep them tuned in as well, you know?
Either that or hit the 30-second button like 100 times.
Spam it. Unless you're joining us on the YouTube live premiere, which would be pretty cool as well.
I think there's some that avoid the audio version.
Until the YouTube.
Yeah.
And there's also some that still listen to the audio version and then go back in and join the YouTube live premiere because the live premiere has a live chat. That's pretty freaking fun to check out as well.
Yeah, cool peeps showing up.
Yeah. So we have just a couple pieces of news today, so we'll go over that. We'll take an ad break, and then we'll come back in for Walkabout Mini Golf thoughts.
Coming in hot with Walkabout.
I got to plug, though, before we kick off the show, our showcase, our first ever Ruff Talk VR gaming showcase is coming quick on Friday, February 2nd at 1 p.m., premiering on YouTube.
It's about 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we're at the point, 99% of trailers have come in. We're putting it all together. We're recording our lines. It's all becoming a reality.
Different stages of stress.
Yeah, I would say this is probably one of the more relieving parts because so much is in now. We even went into big screen and watched all the trailers.
We did.
On a giant screen in VR. That was really cool. Made some notes on them, which ones we liked. Helped us plan out the order of them, definitely. So this is going to be fun. Stay tuned for that. Like I said, Friday, February 2nd, 1 p.m. on YouTube. Definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way, you catch the premiere ASAP. We'll have the live chat going for that too. Let's see. Usually our live chats for our podcast, they're
pretty positive.
They're non-toxic. We have a great community. I can't thank our podcast community enough. The ones that join us in our Discord, post in there. It's such a great community. We plug it all the time. We don't really deal with toxicity. Let's see what the showcase brings. It's a different crowd,
We had said when we were initially even talking that one of the in the concern column of things in preparation for stuff is knowing that the crowd that usually watches they don't hold back. If there's something that
they don't like, they find boring.
It could be a technical issue. It could be
a YouTube issue.
Too much. It could be, their internet's slow. Who knows?
Yeah. So
I feel good.
Yeah, we put a lot of thought into the pacing, the structure, the format in general. So I'm excited to put it all together and premiere our first ever one. It's our first year doing it, so already lessons to learn for next year.
A little slack.
Yeah. Let's see though. Let's see. I know people can be honest.
Although our bar is high anyway, so yeah, I'm confident.
Shit, we might be our toughest critic. But anyway, stay tuned for that Friday, February 2nd. And since I mentioned it, if you haven't yet, go join our podcast Discord, subscribe, rate us 5 stars on your favorite podcast platform. Check out our Patreon. We got a couple new people on the Just Support and tier the last couple of weeks. That's always cool. That's one of the best ways to support the podcast. But besides Walkabout Mini Golf's newest DLC course dropping, which we'll get into after, the other week, it was teased that Amanda Watson, the creator of Airlink for the Quest, which allows you to wirelessly connect.
Best interview ever.
Yeah, that's one of our top 3 to 5 interviews ever. I would say top 3. It's just hard to pick.
1,000,000%.
It's hard to pick.
I have a rotating 3, but she's consistently number 1 on it.
That's why I said 3 to 5. That was such an educational interview. If anybody hasn't checked that one out yet, it's up there with Jerry Ellsworth, Ryan Rutherford from Dungeons of Eternity, or a Scott Albright interview. All those are classic, but the Amanda Watson interview is up there as well. She has quite the story from just going and being a VR fan, making it her goal to go work at what was at the time Oculus, being told that wireless VR connectivity for playing games was really only possible if you had like a laboratory setup, you know, some real high level academic setup. And she said that doesn't really make sense, and went and created Airlink, and so much of the VR community has benefited since then. And, you know, she's since left Oculus or Meta and started to do her own stuff. And it was teased that she was putting out a project a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And instantly the VR community went on fire. I'll even say, I mean, our YouTube video with her, the YouTube version, our interview got a couple hundred views.
It went up.
And that people were interested.
They were scouting that far back, though, to see if maybe she said something during that interview that, you know,
might, you know.
People were looking for answers.
Yeah. So people were hyped. And then it ended up coming out that it was a 3DS, so the Nintendo 3DS emulator to play, you know, on your Quest, kind of in like a giant flat screen. It's called the CitraVR emulator. And over the weekend, it officially came out. So some content creators and such had access to it a little early, but now it's in the wild. And so far, the reception has been great.
Yeah, it's been really positive.
You know, I didn't have the same connection with the 3DS as I did with the Nintendo Game Boy Advance, SP, and the original DS. That was where my Nintendo handheld, you know, getting everyone kind of stopped, was the first DS. But people loved the 3DS. It kind of had a cult following. Didn't sell as much as the other ones, but for all purposes was kind of a device ahead of its time. So people are going crazy to see it flat screen or see it available in VR.
Yeah, there's some nostalgic to it, you know. Just like, I mean, let's be honest, like even the PC emulators from freaking years ago, it's like the first thing people do is go get all the old games that they grew up playing. And to me, though, sometimes like your brain remembers something being much better than it really was.
There's always the nostalgic aspect.
That usually happens a couple of times a year to me. I'll play something that I was like, oh my God, this was so good back in the day. And then I'll be like, holy crap.
I thought it was that great.
You know how many quarters I put into them? But the arcade emulators were the shit. I just don't understand the legalities behind emulation software. I don't know if it's like, do they fall under that same guideline as, like,
I believe
Team Beef?
I think that, yeah, the emulator themselves tend to be legal as long as they do it in a certain framework, or like, you know, there's ways to do it illegally and ways to do it legally, but there's a legal method to create emulators. I think some of the ROMs, the games that people download to run on the emulator can start to run in a much more gray area than the emulator themselves.
And do we see a Nintendo endorsement down the road?
My understanding is there's a Citra, like this one's called CitraVR. There's an existing Citra emulator that's been running for years with no issue. Okay. And this is built off of the same kind of base and made VR. So there's no reason that it should get, you know, a Nintendo cease and desist or anything.
No, but I mean,
Nintendo has been ruthless in the past. I was a little nervous when I first saw that, but hey, not for nothing. I had people over my house last night for the UFC fights. And my friend had his girlfriend over, and they started talking about the 3DS. And I was like, did you know they just, you know, somebody just made a emulator for that, for the Quest? And they were like, what? She's like, are you kidding me? And then she explained to me that I guess Nintendo just shut down the store last year for the 3DS, so you can't buy the games anymore. So I guess for people that are fans of the 3DS, the need for playing on emulators has never been stronger for a 3DS.
Well, if it gets people, you know, using a headset, and, you know,
absolutely
something for everybody.
And, you know, when the news of it first came out, when we first heard about it, we had both said like, oh, you know, that's not like the device we ever played the most or even at all or anything like that. But then you said something very interesting, like, yeah, but it's the proof of concept.
Yeah,
it can be done. So whether that leads to other emulators, or it's just the fact that it's done, is a technical achievement that can push other things to come in the future.
And I do think that in the VR space, there are a handful of people and it's just an opinion, but I believe their goal isn't to like go out there and just create a game or an experience. It's like to take something that hasn't been done, do the proof of concept, get it into the wild, and then move on to the next thing that can't be done. And because this individual is somebody that doesn't take no.
Yeah, that's Amanda too. She's just going to go and say what needs to be done. Wireless VR, emulators.
To me, if I was a company, I would hire her just to tell her that her work couldn't be done.
just so it would get
streamlined and would get done. Because but that's that mindset of an individual who goes, okay, I'm open to the challenge. If you believe it can get done and you're smart as hell, you can get it done.
If you ask me, she's the one to one day bring us cloud VR gaming. And what I mean by that is being able to access.
That's what everybody hoped this was.
Yeah, everybody got, because I think we're all seeing the future with her. We're like, she's the savior for that. She's the one that's going to be able to do it if you look at the way the wireless VR cycle went. So I think we all just got excited on that possibility right off the start. But CitraVR is out. If you like 3DS games, I mean, hey.
Go nuts.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, wasn't my handheld game device that I had the most connection with, but I love to see it happen, and I can't wait to see what else it leads to. Should only be the beginning. And then also, other big news, the Apple Vision Pro, pre-orders officially launched last week.
Ching.
And it's going to release the same day as our gaming showcase, February 2nd. The show goes on. There ain't no stopping Ruff Talk.
I don't...
A different device. It's not a gaming headset. If that's not how it's being sold, I'm doing a gaming showcase. There's no need.
Your porn will never look so good.
We're doing a VR gaming showcase, not a spatial gaming showcase, a spatial computing gaming showcase. So we should be in the clear, if you ask me. But pre-orders officially launched, and most likely it's due to a low amount of stock being initially available, but pre-orders did kind of quote unquote sell out for day one, meaning people that initially pre-ordered, it was saying it was going to come February 2nd. Boom, you're locked in for day one. And then very quickly that pushed to March for new orders coming in.
Mid-March, late March.
I think that's a combination of...
And that was last week.
Yeah. So who knows where it's going to be in a month. By the time it comes out in February, you're not going to be able to get one until April, May.
I appreciate the low inventory, but let's be honest. I mean, because we can't afford it, right? Flat out.
We'll get into the costs a little bit more in a second.
But house mortgage for a freaking headset.
I think it was kind of a combination, to be honest with you, of people being hyped. It's Apple. There being a excited
people who
VR
aren't
industry.
Use it who are going to buy it.
But I also do think that it, and a little bit intentionally, low amounts available at first to create some artificial scarcity. And then the narrative gets to be, they sold out, they push it. It's a better narrative to run with than, hey, we produced 500,000 of them and they're all sitting in a warehouse collecting dust. That's a terrible story to have run.
It's fine line. If you believe in the product as much as they've been pushing it, right? Like next greatest thing, blah, blah, blah. And then you only produce, let's say, 5,000 units. I don't feel like you're believing in your product enough that you're almost beta testing the market before you go, oh, okay, they are going to buy this.
So to play devil's advocate, because I was running a little vocal saying like, well, this is just really good. Before pre-orders dropped, the week before pre-orders dropped, when a report came out saying that they were going to have even less available than said before, I was like, this is really good marketing from Apple because it creates artificial scarcity. And exactly the thing I said before, the marketing narrative gets to be it's selling out. You got to be quick to get one. That's just a much better story to run with. And then one of the Upload VR editors was like, well, not for nothing. David Heine, he was like, the lenses is the big holdup because they're produced by Sony and they're having a lot of trouble getting them out in fast enough ways that pass Apple's quality assurance. So that's really the big holdup is the lens. All the other components that are made in-house, they're good on. They're just waiting on lenses. Now, my counter to that would be motherfuckers have had years to figure this shit out, Yeah, it's a little bit in their benefit, coincidentally, but in fair point, yes, it is the lens that are the holdup.
To me, I hear excuse. No, I mean, I'm serious. And
because they have had years.
You said it jokingly, but it's like from when this was announced to when it's in people's hands.
Whosever fault it is.
There's enough time. And let's go back, maybe a little over a year when they were like, every store is going to sell one every single day, every single
one
Apple
a day
store. And
in every.
Like, that's a little aggressive for a headset that you're going to need to make an appointment to see.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to go into an Apple store and they're just going to.
I think in its entire lifespan, from launch to the time that they're selling primarily the Apple Vision Pro 2, think we'll see on the high end 1 million units sold.
I hate to say it, but we're gonna, because you've seen the videos of stores getting bum rushed, like Apple stores, knowing and publicizing that you have an inventory of them in your store. I think it's like there will be some videos.
They should make it online only. You have to do a facial scan with your phone.
Yeah.
With an iPhone to get a facial render of yourself to get it.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to control this because, I mean, just from when you know something's there, that means it can be taken.
Well, how do they do that with iPhones now?
They get yanked out of the fucking store.
Do they? That's terrible.
Dude, you can go down a rabbit hole with these videos. It'd be like 20 people just bum rushing through the door in a shopping mall
it's a San Francisco issue.
Even to the point of taking the demo phones, which are like wired to the boards. If you're like the last person in the door, that's what you're leaving with, is like a board with phones dangling off of it that probably don't really work.
Yeah, if I'm selling a $3,500
so I'm
technical
really
piece of equipment that weighs like 600 grams, I'm selling that shit online only, if you ask me.
Yeah, weren't they saying it'll be available?
Yeah, no, 100% will be available in store February 2nd.
I'm not walking out of a store with that thing.
Oh, dude, I was putting my Quest 3 in my jacket. That shit was $500.
Remember how happy we were when we saw how small the box was? I'm like, that's how big the box is this year. You know, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Remember the dude in front of us?
Yeah, but I also want to be clear too that that guy was funny. He was like.
I'll definitely try an Apple headset, but man, you better send some security to get it. How paranoid would you be knowing that thing's in the mail?
Yeah, and
like, holy shit, dude, I better be home.
I want to be clear too. I hope this thing crushes it. I hope the sales on it are spectacular. You know, I don't want to sound like an Apple hater by any means. If this headset,
dude.
if this headset does amazing, that's the best for the whole industry. Everybody wins like that. You know, I actually think it does more harm for the industry if this thing does, just terrible with sales and
I'll say use
performance.
Cost. I mean, it's not a gaming headset, so you can take that. And the biggest kickback I see is people being like, "But it's not for games." It's like, "Yep." So the question is how many business professionals are going to embrace it as their everyday? And that to me is a very, I don't use a Mac.
It's so weird to say, but it's not weird because it's Apple. I guess it's always kind of the case on that. What's selling this headset is not the specs or what it does, what's inside of it, the way it looks, its performance. What's selling this headset is that it's Apple industry. Yeah. If any other headset manufacturer came out with a headset at this cost with it would be like PR nightmare of the year.
If Meta did this?
Yeah. People complain so much about the $1,500 price tag of the Pro.
I also wish them the best with the sales. I think
I
even
hope
if
they crush it.
Even if they sell the 5,000 units times, almost 4K a headset, it's not too freaking shabby.
No, exactly.
But I want to know what happens after, the first 4 months, because the initial wave is going to be everybody who's like, I'm on board with this. I'm hardcore. The real question I have is when those people get the headsets, which they already pre-ordered. I see it all over LinkedIn. It's like, hey, I got my pre-order.
Which we're in a very VR industry heavy circle.
Yes.
So there's some heavy bias in that. These are the people that are buying the headset. I don't think it's consumers. It's VR professionals sold that shit out.
That's what I'm seeing. So it's like when all the professionals have them and they're in their hands, how are they going to market it to the average person? Or are they trying to? It's like when the iPhone came out, everybody knew someone who had a friend who had an iPhone. I think it's going to be more similar to Oculus. Like your friends came over last night. I know how you are. You're upselling the shit out of these headsets. But I don't know anybody like locally that is committed to buying one. So I'm like, fuck, I don't even know if I'm going to, because maybe I would try it and be like, I still can't afford it.
But not for that price point.
No.
Unfortunately,
I'll let you roll with the price of it if you want to get into that.
Well, real quick before I do, I will say the best case scenario for everyone is that this headset sells great, and then they start to roll out an Apple Vision Pro 2 that's a little cheaper, and we see the price go down in future models, just like we did with the original iPhone release. That's the best case scenario.
Fucking iPhones are still $1,000,
but they're not $3,500. I'll tell you that.
This is a phone.
And so just to
These
get
are glasses.
so that the base model of the Vision Pro is 256 gigabytes of storage for $3,500, or you can get 512 for $3,700, or you can get a terabyte for $3,900. So it's just way out of the price point for your general
It's like
human.
42 after tax.
Available for sale currently only in the United States.
Extended warranty.
Yeah, you'd be out of your mind not to get Apple Care Plus on this.
Where was it posted yesterday that
Someone posted on
the
Discord,
you
it was
saw
going
it?
to cost a couple $100 or
$700
$700 to repair the lenses without having Apple Vision Pro.
700.
And they are selling some accessories too, including this isn't all the accessories. This was just some of my favorites. A $200 travel case. They're selling a $50 battery holder, a $200 light seal, and a $100 prescription lenses because glasses aren't supported with it. So it's a premium tech piece. You know, like it's not made for the average person. It's just
right now I put it as novelty.
which look, dude, if you
I just
had
don't-
that kind of disposable income, I bet
Well,
you
that's
you
the
would get
thing,
done.
but the reality is
There's not many people that do.
percentage wise, you're 75% don't.
And then if you are one of those people that do have that disposable income and you're not sold on VR yet, and I mean, look, $3,500 is $3,500, even if you have the income or not, you're going to laugh and be like, look at the industry, you know? So I hope in the end that's not the case. I hope that this really pushes the industry forward.
No, I think
It's Apple getting into it.
I think for the business professionals, it's a no brainer. Like I could see going into work one day and, everyone's got their cubicles and there's freaking Apple headsets there because the company's going to utilize them for their comfort. And although I heard mixed bags,
I've heard mixed things on the comfort. I just can't comment on it without
without
experiencing
trying
myself.
it myself because it was
Which,
like,
in fairness, I mean, the Quest 3 stock head strap is atrocious with that face shield. I've gotten used to it.
the first 2 days I had Quest head. My face hurt. I was really pissed.
But you
off.
got used to it.
I don't know, I just
That's
put
not
it on,
ideal.
it broke in.
It's
It's like getting a new leather jacket.
not ideal.
Or boots. You got to break them in.
We also went from a decked out Quest 2 with full blown Kiwi stuff
Oh, dude.
to stock.
I look at my Quest 2 and I'm jealous.
Sometimes, yeah.
Although if I felt like drilling holes and shit, I mean, I can retrofit. I just don't. I don't have like.
I agree
3
with what you're
Quest
saying, though.
3s.
I've gotten used to it. It's not that bad. Doesn't cut
So
play
I think
sessions short.
from a professional standpoint, but it should never be allowed to be compared to this is, they didn't do well, so it hurts the VR world. No, it doesn't hurt it at all because the percentage of people who are buying headsets are not buying them to do Excel spreadsheets and they're just not. The people in the professional world in the VR industry are, forward thinking companies that realize, hey, if we've got remote people, we can have workspaces and all. I think that's home run city. Especially with being able to see clearly through it and walk through your own home as you're, having your board meeting, whatever.
Which I have heard the mixed reality pass through on it is spectacularly high quality.
Of course, dude.
That seems to be the biggest.
For $3,500, I mean, and we've said it before too. If Meta made a headset for $3,500,
How much freaking
it would
kick
obviously
that?
be pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking it's not going to be like just a little better than. I mean, the Pro is. I don't own a Pro.
It was $1,400 at launch. It's $999 now.
But I know everyone loves those controllers more than the headset. though.
Yeah. And I know some people that still do enjoy their Pro
Yeah, man.
as well. So I don't know. I think
So
that's
it's interesting times, but I'm going to stick to I want to see after the initial first quarter of release.
I do think it kind of created a market for a Quest Pro too, as well. Like, look, if you got this $3,500 headset,
And I think Meta's going to sit back on this one
I
for
think
about a
having
year.
$1,000
Be
to
like, you know what?
$1,200 Quest Pro too, with a lot of extra pump, kick in it would definitely help too.
I
don't
mean, and dude, not for nothing, $600 for the 3, is not for what you're getting. It's really freaking good. It's not a bad deal. Knowing you could get 4 of them,
Yeah. Somebody was joking to me last night. They were like, "Are you gonna get one for the podcast?" I was like, "If somebody wants to give me $7,000,
Man, we
or they
need
want to
2
send me
headsets.
to," I was like, "Geez!" Like when you say that number out loud, it's so redonkulous.
I also
But I hope they do great.
I also do believe, last opinion on it. And again, I agree with you. Not hating on them, just thinking factually.
And like, look, if they crush it, we're going to be the happiest people in the world.
I think
pushes the industry so forward.
I think by pushing orders back, what they also lose out on is that person who like is feeling the hype train. And I'm going on there. I'm getting one. They said I could buy one. I'm going on there. Oh, we'll get it till March. Oh, fuck it. I'll just move on because that's the way you're wired. Like, and almost like borderline compulsive.
I think what they're hoping for is that the news stories that say like, you can't get one.
If I had the money, I'd buy one.
When you hear people say you can't get one, that means anybody who has the money to get one has to get one because you can't get one.
It's an expensive Furby.
Yeah. It's so I could see this being a good marketing tactic from Apple, whether or not it's intentional or not. Scarcity, they're leveraging it in the best way possible, taking full advantage of the situation,
Well, we know by February 3rd there's going to be a shit ton of reviews. So.
Yeah, and while you're waiting for your Apple Vision Pro or whatever, you're waiting for reviews, whatever, go check out that Ruff Talk VR gaming showcase, 1 p.m., same day.
Anybody who posts a review on the 2nd hasn't played with it enough.
No, because I don't think people are getting it too early is how it seems. It seems like
there are some,
but it seems like it's a very restricted number in comparison to other headset launches.
So even on the social media sense, it's probably not going to be as
powerful on day one. People are going to need a fair week, at least a week.
Yep.
And that's a week with like putting in a grind work on it to give it a fair review.
Yeah, because it does a lot of shit.
But again, best of luck to Apple. It would be everybody's best interest that this thing does well, but I'll be watching closely to say the least. One last thing on it though, it did come out interestingly enough that there's going to be some major media consumption apps that don't have direct native support on it, such as YouTube, Spotify, and Netflix are each going to not have an app directly on the device. You can still access YouTube through the built-in browser.
Yeah.
But that's not the same as...
That was weird news, by the way.
I think YouTube was the weirdest of them all. YouTube's available on everything. I have a Roku TV that probably honestly, probably 100 people still own it at this point. And it still gets, the YouTube app is still supported great. That one was shocking.
Yeah.
For what I consider a business and media consumption device to not have major media consumption apps is a little weird. I wonder what went on in the back there. I know the obvious thing is a lot of people would say, there's not enough headsets sold to justify the resources to make an app for it. But on the other hand, I mean, that's something to subsidize on Apple's end. To sell this headset without those apps is kind of a WTF moment,
Well, it's supposed to be getting work done, not watching videos.
Yeah, but dude, think of it for work. I mean, there's a lot of great information on YouTube, a lot of good tutorials. Like
I said, there's obviously some back end conversations.
Something happened. I don't know if maybe there was some. I'm saying Apple should subsidize those. Maybe they were trying to strong arm
thing.
Yeah, Apple's been ruthless with their store policies in the past, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was some strong arming. And these developers said,
"Okay,
yep, fuck you."
Yep.
I mean, because for 3 major media consumption apps, they all go, it's not even worth to build the foundation now. All we have to do is, they're not even going to import their iPad app version, which they could do.
Bizarre.
Very weird. So something went on there. Yeah, I think it's a negotiating thing. I think we're catching mid-negotiations, and my speculation would be strong arming, and the other side went, okay, I'm out. And all 3 did it together. But I'm sure that's not the last we'll hear of that news. But that's what we got to say about the Vision Pro today. Stay tuned for mid-February when we start to hear some honest opinions on it. And I'm excited. Hopefully we see a cheaper price point with the Vision Pro 2, 3, etc. Big news, too, for one of our favorite games, Ghost of Tabor. You see one of my favorite pieces of swag we've gotten. Yeah, a Ghost of Tabor hat right there. They tease that next week, so this week, they're going to be announcing their release date on the official MetaQuest store.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, they were posting that on their Twitter, so I was instantly like,
wonder when.
Dude, for the studio that got that thing out in under a year, I have imagined that, I mean, my guess is that they have that same mentality for getting onto the official store, too. Sooner rather than later, let's hustle, but let's see, I'm excited for that.
I was really thinking about it the other day, and that whole team, it's like,
exceptional.
dude, they just haven't fucking stopped though. It's like, really, I'm thinking of the grind that they've had to put, like, okay, let's put it, release it on Apple App, and then just
every milestone is a bigger milestone to hit next.
to the wall with like the amount of work that they're having to put in and continue to put in, and it doesn't stop. It's crazy. So I mean, all studios work hard, I get it, but there's certain paces that some have that it's like, man.
I think the results speak for themselves.
Weren't they hiring last week too?
A couple positions.
Yep.
Nothing media related, or nothing that I could slide an application into or anything like that. There was much more technical positions.
I always look.
I always love when it's like,
I don't even mind rejection.
I see programming
mails,
and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah,
that ain't me.
That's not me, homie. Congrats to whoever it is.
Do you have a mascot program?
Do you need a hype man? Do you need a hype man?
Pitch man. Hey, step right up here. You think you're good at survival, do you?
Dude, we need to make it a 2024 goal to get you some voice acting gigs. I would love to do voice acting as well, but we each need to know our place in the world. If somebody wants this voice in their game, my guest, hit me up. But I think you have much more diverse characters.
Well, because I'm crazy. No, you could do it too, but you're just
a more standard voice.
Well, yeah, I noticed
you get this voice. You would get this voice.
Well, you can't. And it's like even
like my tone. You have freaking characters to pick from.
And even what sucks is a lot of them I can't remember, and that sucks really bad. But that's part of the deal. Is like,
well, I think
I can't, like, somebody could say this is what we want, and it's like you have to try to interpret how that would. I see that a lot in like the military.
I think you would do great at that if somebody said this is the type of character I want, and then you fucking pieced it together. Absolutely.
I like some of the goofy.
I've thrown those challenges at you before.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. We've done some off-air shit too.
Yeah.
And then you've like reeled me in with certain ones, and
so it's a big goal to end up in a video game in some way, shape, or form. Let's get you some voice acting this year.
I'm sure if I actually made the effort, more than belonging to a couple of voice acting groups,
Well, I'm putting it out there. If anybody needs some voice acting,
Yeah, I got levels. I'll try my best.
Find us at Damien at rufftalkvr.com and also Brian at rufftalkvr.com. And that's DAMIEN and BRYAN. So I'm just saying.
I wish in hindsight I had picked a different name when we started this.
Oh, I thought you meant you hated Brian.
I do. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
I mean,
you don't get to pick a name though.
No, man.
Talking about Stratus or Brian?
Well, Stratus we amended.
Mm-hmm.
We fixed. Who was it? Was it Tepezy?
Mm-hmm. He caught it.
He figured it out. I was like, good deal, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a phase out. We'll just get rid of the 2K one. Lame. So I guess in hindsight, that and my real name, I would just pick the stage name.
Well,
Otto.
Your name could be Fungus.
Fungus?
So I think it's not
Fungi?
too bad. Yeah, somebody's out there with the name Fungus. I don't mean to offend you.
Fungi, the fun guy.
Hey, actually, that's not too bad. But nonetheless, so
Fungus.
Huge props to Combat Waffle Studios. I'm so excited to hear when the official...
We are anxiously awaiting this news.
Yeah.
As if the servers aren't hard enough. The only upside for me is like new players.
When that game drops...
I feel like a shark.
And it's available for people on the home screen of the store, because they're going to put that shit front and center. It's going to sell like hotcakes. It's going to be insane. Yeah, brace your servers, Combat Waffle Studios.
Yeah, they've got that figured.
It did seem like that they were teasing on Twitter as well that the price is going to go up at official release. That's at least how I interpreted.
It's possible.
I'm just saying, if you haven't gotten Ghost of Tabor yet, you got to assume you're going to get it at some point.
Dude,
if you haven't yet,
even like when we had originally gotten it, even if you bought it then and never played it until it's one of those games that like you can find on Steam that you're like, I know this game's going to be a hit. I can get it for a really good price now. I just won't play it for, until release.
So if you ever think that at any point you're going to buy Ghost of Tabor, buy it now, get it cheaper.
Yeah.
And then
start practicing.
Yeah. Dude, we've gotten smoked.
Those servers are real.
Yeah. No, Ghost of Tabor, honestly, I'm so excited to see them release. But in the meantime, I'm excited to hear when that date will be. So according to what they said last week, that should be this week. So stay tuned. And then some other news, a hyped App Lab game called Grimlord is now available on App Lab. It's sold as a Souls-like action RPG game.
Souls-like?
Yeah, like Dark Souls.
Like a Souls-like.
Yeah.
So many likes.
Yeah, so much inspiration.
Or lights.
But it's an action RPG. It's available on App Lab and Steam VR right now.
Graphics look good.
Yeah, it's in early access. It's $30 right now in early access with the full release planned to come Q3 2024. So really not far away
So that
at
was
all.
PC VR footage?
I mean, it had to be. We watched the trailer that they put out.
I was torn on it could be Quest 3.
I'm not getting my hopes up. That looked really tight.
There were some scenes that were questionable.
Yeah. So Grimlord available now on App Lab. Grim? Where's Grim? I hope we get some Grim news very soon.
Dude, I know.
I'm so hyped. That's probably my number one hyped game in general right now, but Silent North as well. So, but Grimlord looks very fun. So that's another one of those games. It's probably going to cost more at full release, right? I might as well grab it now in App Lab.
It's a good investment.
Yeah, it looks tight.
It looks like it's one of those games too that they're going to expand on after release.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure they got a roadmap that's going to be.
That was pretty sold just off the trailer. So a quick one. I don't have much to comment on this, but LG confirms that its plans to release a new XR device as early as next year. So we're seeing more and more players enter the market. The reason I say I don't have much to say on that because, well, nothing's really announced about it yet, but it's just cool to see that
it could be anything.
It had previously come out that they were making a device and it's still on track, and to come as early as possibly next year. Let's go, baby. So that's really cool to see. And then another great piece of news, probably my favorite news of the whole week just because of the positivity of it. Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, the developers of it, they announced that it's hit almost $100 million in total revenue since its release 4 years ago. Now, look, that's not $100 million profit. That's just how much it's pulled in total. But I doubt this game came anywhere close to $100 million to make and market. Dude, $100 million.
No, that's like goosebump money.
I mean, huge props.
That's crazy.
Huge props. I doubt number 2 has hit that amount of sales yet. Remember when they came out with the news that Walking Dead Saints and Sinners 1 was getting Quest 3 optimization before the second one? We're like, that's strange. Well, I bet you if we could see the revenue of the second one in comparison to the first one, it would make a lot of sense.
It actually makes you wonder if they should have just
made that a DLC
or not even done a second one.
I would have just done it as a DLC.
Just be like, you know what? Like a good comedian, I'm going to leave you wanting to hear more. Mic drop, I'm out. Have a good day.
Like disappear Dave Chappelle style for a decade.
Yeah. He had reasons for that. I don't want to wish that on anybody.
Yeah, but
here's a boatload of money and you're going to go insane for a little while.
Hopefully you get to do it on better terms than that. But nonetheless.
Dude,
that's huge news. That's awesome. And hopefully we see them still in the VR space. I don't know how you could leave the VR space after making $100 million in revenue. And
dude, the CEO's Ferrari says VR space right on his license plate.
That's good sales by flat screen numbers.
It's crazy.
I hope that that's attractive to AAA studios and just flat screen developers in general, that look, if you make a good fucking game, people will buy it.
Yeah, and they really did though. So
I mean, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners 1 is amazing.
And there's a reason why Ghost of Tabor is successful. It's because it filled in.
They made a good fucking game.
Bite for something that people wanted.
Mm-hmm. Who would have ever thought number one requirement for your game selling good and being a success, the number one most important thing, oh my God, so groundbreaking, has to be a good fucking game that people want to play.
That they want to play.
Yes, there has to be a need for it. It's kind of hard to create.
Troll the communities and you'll figure out real quick what people want and don't want.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's the easiest free marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Jump into anybody's Discord and be like, what kind of games would you guys like?
Yeah, free.
Or ladies.
Yeah.
Not trying to.
free
Single.
research, free insight available. The community is always yelling the type of games that they want and what they love the most. So,
Yeah. So you deliver, they'll buy.
yeah, and that's a great example of it. That's not to say that if your game didn't sell well, that it was bad. I understand we're oversimplifying. There's a million different factors of marketing, release timing. We speak about it all the time. We understand. We're just saying it is a big factor. Good games sell good.
Wait.
Yeah, it's the biggest piece of the pie, to say the least. So that's all I got for news before our ad break. There was a little bit of
sad news.
yeah,
Some sad news.
Wemo Games, the developers behind Battle Bows and just launched Micro Machines. Unfortunately, they shut down.
Closed shop.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And anytime a studio in VR shuts down, it makes me sad, especially a studio that we talk to. You know, great interview.
They're human beings, you know. I mean,
Tom, one of the developers of Battle Bows, he didn't work on Micro Machines, but he worked on Battle Bows. He's in our Discord. You know, hopefully, if anybody's hiring for a developer, Tom's a beast. You know, definitely.
yeah, he's really good.
He's in our developer or in our Discord as Stingate, I think is the pronunciation.
Yeah,
of
no,
it.
it's unfortunate whenever you see a studio go out, and I was shocked that they did because
It was so close to release.
Battle Bows had not come out, but not too long ago, and then Micro Machines like literally just came out.
Yeah.
And then there seemed to be some. I'm not here to mention names or nothing.
No, but I saw some
There
people
was some
coordinated
yeah,
shit talking on Micro Machines that was weird.
yeah.
It was unexpected.
In comparison to like all the shit out there, it was like, this actually seems more personal than valid. But
Oftentimes, I think it's better if you don't have anything good to
I-
say. Don't say
I-
anything at all. You know, and
that's
it's
why
like
I'm not putting anybody on blast for. I mean, everybody has their reasons for everything, but it just sucked because then, like, literally a week later,
they shut down. And I think that there's nothing wrong with giving, legitimate feedback and criticism, but I also think that there's a line. You know,
if your track record is 100% proven, consistent, and you've never fucked up, then you can say whatever you want. But if I can go back and look at your shit and find like areas where I would totally disagree with the statements that were made, then, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like that's what makes me think there was something more to it than just opinion.
it's just
because
unfortunate. We've always had the
it sucks.
attitude if we don't like a game, we just kind of skip it.
The best thing, and I think you're the one who said it, and I fucking live by it, is our worst criticized game is somebody else's favorite
my least
game.
favorite game is somebody's
Yeah.
favorite game.
So
I
take
can't
the
sit
root
here
of-
and say that. I'll never say a game sucks. It's bad. I'll say maybe I don't like it or I don't like this aspect. But the reality is my least favorite is somebody's favorite. And like there's lines of it. Words like suck, stupid, dumb.
At the end of the day, though, and I think it's easy to forget that, and that's why, community managers are so important. It's like there's a human side to these games that we either like or don't like. And criticisms can, they can sting if they're
No,
like
it's
I said,
real
100
people making
yeah.
these games, dude. Just
So
like
I just, and it's each their own though. It's not my shtick to shit on things.
it's the same feeling like people
Unless
don't like it
unless
when
it's humor.
people don't like
Then
it when people
I
go
don't
in their YouTube comments and start shitting and saying things like way overly critical aggressively, and it's the same thing, It's what
Yeah,
goes.
I ain't gonna say
you know,
more on
so
this subject. It
it's
was just it
unfortunate.
was an unfortunate display that had me.
And
really-
I don't know if that's what caused Wemo Games to shut down by
No,
any
it
means.
definitely
If a
not.
game shut
No,
down if a
it
studio
couldn't.
shut down that close after
couldn't.
release, there's a lot more factors going
Yeah,
on.
it was just unfortunate timing.
Yeah.
I'll say.
But, we like to keep it positive. Probably actually should have done that and then ended the news segment on
all
The
good.
Walking Dead news because, dude, $100 million in revenue is freaking amazing. That's after 4 years. So huge props to the developers there. Can't wait to hear the release date for Ghost of Tabor. And, we'll take an ad break. We'll be back with you with our thoughts on Walkabout Mini Golfs around the world in 80 days. As always, huge shout out to everybody that, listens each week. You guys are awesome. It's really cool to see the community grow, see the YouTube grow, see the show grow in general. You all are awesome. You all are rock stars. And also, huge shout out especially to the listeners that partake in our Discord each and every day. It's such a positive, like we said earlier, non-toxic community. You all rock. And also, we always like to give a weekly on-air shout-out to our Patreon supporters on our on-air shout-out tier. I did see in the last couple of weeks we got a couple more Patreon people, not on the on-air shout-out tier, but it's cool to see, like, you know, some I recognize as long-time listeners. And it's like, oh, dude, it means a lot. But huge thank you to our Patreon supporters, Asim, Amelia, Earth Witness, Jake, Mike Morbid, Crispy, and Shoes. So thank you all so much. And especially huge shout out to Shoes, who has been a big help with some graphics for our upcoming showcase. That was really cool.
That was pretty
Shoes.
genius of you.
Yeah, hey, Shoes.
Because now if the graphics don't look good, you've already publicly said who it was.
Oh, that's a good
That
point.
was genius.
That's a good point. But if you like them, you know
Good
who to hit up.
marketing.
Who to hit up. But no, huge shout out to Shoes.
And if you don't, you can find Shoes in our Discord.
You'll be seeing his name as Flip Flops if the graphics are not like. But no, they're great graphics, so I think that they'll be well received. You know, thank you so much. And like I said, we'll be back with you after a word from these sponsors.
Cheers to the new year from our friends at Manscaped, because your resolutions shouldn't be the only things that are well kept. 2024 is the time for new heights, new opportunities, and a new look for your Times Square balls. Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the next page of confidence for this year. Whether you're looking to maintain a trim or go for that clean-shaven look, this trimmer has you covered. Trusted by over 10 million men worldwide, now is your time to get a grip on your grooming with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use the code RuffTalkVR for 20% off plus free shipping. Happy New Year and happy new balls. Introducing the MVP of 2024, Manscaped's 5th generation lawnmower. It's not just a trimmer, it's your grooming sidekick. Equipped with 2 skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little off the top, and a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. It's like having a personal stylist at your fingertips, or, well, whenever you need it. And did we mention it's waterproof? Because a trim in the shower is the only way to start the day. And for my men who want the full grooming experience, look no further than Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0. In this grooming kit, you get the trusted lawnmower, Manscaped's ear and nose hair trimmer, and essential aftercare products with the Crop Soother, ball aftershave lotion, and a crop preserver anti-chafing ball deodorant. As a gesture for the new year, they even threw in 2 free gifts, the Boxers 2.0 and the Shed 2.0 toiletry bag, because they know good, and well, we know you're still rocking your Boxers from high school. Let's face it, resolutions might come and go, but a well-groomed you is here to stay, thanks to Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code RuffTalkVR at manscaped.com. Because nothing says Happy New Year like a deal that leaves your balls and your budget feeling refreshed. Embrace a new you, and definitely embrace a new trimmer, courtesy of Manscaped.
And we are back with, like we teased at the start, our thoughts on Walkabout Mini Golf's newest DLC course, Around the World in 80 Days.
Around the world.
Which, if you've been waiting this long, I'll save you the suspense. I'll say it right at the start. Is it worth it? Yes. Every time, worth every penny. The cost of a coffee.
Because it's like,
that's why I'm not going to save it for the end.
They could give you
Before
a
I even
green
get
screen
into it
with a ball. And
Yeah.
be like, is it worth $4.99?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
The courses are so much bang for your buck. I mean, so if you've been curious, is the course worth it? Yes. As always, Walkabout Mini Golf has yet to not deliver. If you're a fan of these courses, another one, especially because it completes the Jules
I was
Verne
gonna say,
trilogy.
You're a completionist.
Yeah.
You have to own it.
There's no way I could have this one missing from my library, seeing it grouped into those 3 personally. But it's so cool because it's not like they did Jules Verne, Jules Verne, Jules Verne. It went like Jules Verne, other DLC, other DLC.
Yeah, that was their best approach too, because they know going in that certain courses aren't going to be for everyone.
And dude,
so they have to have that really good up and down mix.
Meow Wolf wasn't that long ago.
No,
So their DLC schedule is freaking aggressive in all the right ways.
I think we'll eventually see the one a month.
Yeah, we're getting to that point. I mean, and just to get into it, the quality has not gone down.
Not ever.
I mean,
consistent or better.
I think Meow Wolf was my favorite aesthetic. So it's like to follow Meow Wolf as the next DLC in any way, because it's not the same type of aesthetic. It's a tough follow, but they did a damn good job with Around the World in 80 Days. The first thing, like right when you boot in, like that that shoot up elevator that they shoot you in, and then you zoom out to the out view, and you just see the floating ship in the sky.
Well, you're on the Eiffel Tower,
dude. It's freaking awesome.
So you're on top of the Eiffel Tower playing golf,
and it took us till like maybe hole 2 before we shot out the window, and we're like, well, how low down can we fly? How far can we fly?
Dude, you can fly far.
So in terms of scale,
far.
This course is massive in that regard. I mean, we flew, dude, probably wasted like 10, 15 minutes just flying just to see the limits of it.
How can you not?
Yeah, I think I was like 2 minutes into flying, and I was like, dude, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm flying right now. And you're like, I'm so glad you said something because I'm going to go join you.
Yeah, and then I started taking off towards buildings and shit.
Yeah.
And then I started checking I'm like, you know what? Just for giggles, I'm going to look inside some of these buildings and see if
they actually
put anything
Not
in
that
there.
you found,
so far
though.
that I found nothing.
But notice how we won't close the door on that?
No,
We're like,
people do crazy shit. There could be something in anyone, extra hole, who knows?
so visually, it's not at all obviously that same psychedelic realm like we saw at Meow Wolf.
It's not Meow Wolf.
But for an interpretation of the Jules Verne around the world in 80 days, it's beautiful. The scale of it is massive. I mean, like, there's so much, I don't want to use the word clutter.
I'd say the scale of the environment is massive. The holes are not, because it is taking place on top of the Eiffel Tower.
Correct. So when I'm saying it's massive, I'm talking like the scale of the entire environment, yes. But if we're going to get into the gameplay mechanics of the actual holes themselves, they are a little bit tighter packed holes, and they really play in this one off of bouncing and ricochet mechanics. That's the theme of the gameplay to this one to me.
At least a couple new game mechanics that I won't spoil that, I haven't seen in their others yet. So but dude, I loved it. I kicked on the.
It was a much more traditional course with gameplay to me, though, because again, it plays just mostly
very challenging though. Not even funny. The hard mode is freaking ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's hard.
One of their more challenging DLCs, if you ask me, for
Hold
gameplay.
out on 2 holes.
Both challenging in terms of the gameplay itself and finding the balls. Holy moly, Edward! Holy moly! He woke up and chose violence with this one.
I think we made it to hole 3, and then I think I even talked a little shit about Edward on because I'm like, found another one.
Mm-hmm.
Found another one. I'm like,
and then we weren't finding them anymore after that.
Best work, huh? I got cocky, and then
like he was listening to it in real time, placing them. It just got hard.
I talked like he was there, and then we couldn't find like the next 2 holes in a row or something, and I'm like, okay, I get what's going on here. And then it was
it got hard. We did not find
F you, Edward.
Our first go through, we found under 50% of the balls.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
I mean, granted, we didn't focus in trying to find them all, but the effort we made, I'd say, was pretty legit.
Yeah. I mean, that's that.
And then even watching people play it during the day, they were saying like, there's still 3 balls I can't find. I'm like, damn. Dude.
So yeah, Edward woke up and chose violence with this one. It's one of his harder hit courses, I would say, with the balls. But it's not a problem because it's so fun to fly around. But I'm always so impressed with these ones that the holes are a little bit smaller and the ball is so well hidden. Because I'll be like, dude, there's nowhere
to hide it.
What I actually get.
And then an hour later, we can't find it.
I actually get a little worried when it's a small hole like that. And I go, well, dude, there's nowhere to put. I mean, there's like not that much space to put the ball. I already know it's going to be hard as hell.
Yeah, I give him a lot of credit. It's shady.
But I think it was actually a really good follow-up after Meow Wolf because even though the visuals are in the environment at scale big, like I said, like gameplay-wise, it's much more of a traditional mini golf
and let's
course.
be honest, it's like, what could you do? They could have done a world-size course after Meow Wolf, and it's like, those are very, very unique. That's a unique world. I mean, to Meow Wolf, it's like, come on, man. That's a tough freaking. I wouldn't want to have to break the ice for the one following.
That's what I said right at the start. It's like it's a tough follow up, but I think they did it the best you possibly
could.
Do?
Yeah, close out the Jules Verne
trilogy. It was the best way to do it.
And dude, the sound scores again, spot on.
Yeah, somebody said something during our VR award show that like it hurt you, and that we had said earlier in the year about potentially doing a kind of like soundtrack of the year award.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, with our award show, we didn't have the opportunity to do the category right, to really sit back. And
I didn't think anyone would remember. And then when I heard the comment or read the comment,
we finished the whole award show and somebody in the live chat goes, where's soundtrack of the year?
Yeah. Where's the score?
Score of the year.
Where's the people who...
Score of the year is what he called it. And I was like, oh no, you mean the soundtrack? Like the best sound score? He's like, yep. And I'm like, fuck.
I was genuinely hurt.
Yeah, you messaged me after. You're like, dude, that one hurt. So we didn't have an opportunity.
Because that's an area that I think gets some of the least amount of appreciation.
But it's so important.
But is equally as important as the graphics and the physics for any game.
Yeah,
and it's like
100%.
If it's not part of it, it's like... I always love the, turn any scary movie volume off and that movie is not scary. It's like, why isn't it scary? Yep. Because there's nothing forcing you on that journey.
The Pink Floyd Wizard of Oz thing completely changed the whole movie just
Dark Side of Oz.
Yep. Completely changes the whole feel of the movie and everything and what's going on there. Simply the sound.
Yeah.
So it's a category that we appreciate so much. It's so important in any game or any movie and really any media consumption. And so to do it right, we didn't have the opportunity to go back and look past the whole year. We dropped the ball on that. I apologize. But I gave
it recognition through the year and everything that was great.
Just didn't piece it into a category. So we'll be honest about our flaws and our mistake.
That stung like a wasp.
Just to be off the cusp real quick though, I mean, like if we were to do the award, I think it might have to go to Walkabout Mini Golf in total. I mean, when you look at the unique sound score for each one of their different courses that have delivered every single time.
Well, that becomes the problem. Is like I knew, and we'd even talked about like, even though we couldn't do the award for it, but we definitely top 3. I think since Walkabout's come out, their sound.
I mean, we even talked to them about like kind of the balancing act that goes into making it a great sound score, but not too great. That's distracting you.
But there were some bangers this year, dude.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
I can't righteously say 100% who would have won.
Yeah, and
I will say they're definitely top 3.
And I wouldn't want to miss nominees and stuff either.
Because I'm thinking back on some of the games. I'm like,
even Arizona Sunshine 2.
And I'm talking like games where it's like you've got the narrative score, you've got the music score, you've got the sound effects, you've got the environmental stuff, and then when you hear stuff like a bird chirping. Or a cricket chirp, or you can hear the wind. It's like those people deserve a lot of credit.
So to give them the proper love, the audio composers, the producers, anybody in the engineers, anybody involved in the music, the writers, directors, we have so much appreciation for everybody involved in the audio production side of the games. The musical sound score, the sound effects.
Without you got shit.
It's so essential. So I mean,
it's flat out that simple.
So I feel terrible that we missed it in our award show, but just please know that it's not due to a lack of love and appreciation. It's actually the opposite. We didn't feel we could do it.
We love you so much we ignored you.
Yeah, as cruel as that bad parenting as that sounds, we couldn't do it right, and that's not right to half-ass a category that's so important to us like that. But huge props to all the sound peeps, and especially in Walkabout Mini Golf. Around the World in 80 Days is no exception. It continues a great series of sound scores appearing in their DLC. I love the music scores in each one of their DLCs.
Well, they got the accordion playing in this one, which is, you picture like the guy with the beret and the white and black, or white and red shirt. And yes, I was in character for the duration of.
Oh yeah, we had a lot of fun, and like you said, dude, the course is hard. The gameplay or the nighttime hard mode is awesome, but super hard.
It's hard. It's good.
Balls wicked well hidden. Again, pretty straightforward gameplay mechanics in it. Plays a lot off of ricochet, bounce too. You'll see bounce appear a lot in it, and you're really gonna have to be the Goldilocks of power in your swings. There's going to be a lot of cases where it's, you got to hit not too hard, not too light. That's kind of the theme of the gameplay on this ricochet, bounce, and Goldilocks of power. So because of that, I didn't do good. Those are not my strong qualities.
No, there's one hole though that was made for you.
Yeah, and what happened my first swing on it?
Yeah, you crushed it
and went way too far over. I got too excited. I kept hitting my ball way too hard on this course, but I had a blast. It's amazing. It's super fun. Walkabout Mini Golf and Mighty Coconut continues to deliver, and like what happens with the completion of every course for me, I'm sitting here going, what's next?
Yeah,
I cannot wait to see what's next.
What I like is like Meow Wolf had me pretty good, so it's like I'm still up for playing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm up. I mean,
That's still my number one.
I'm up for playing any Walkabout course, but like we're been leaning heavy on the Meow Wolf.
Yeah,
this one's kind of got me in its own way.
I'm not done with it yet.
So yeah, I'm not done with going, oh shit, I want to keep playing it. I almost went in solo too, which is really rare. Wicked rare for me to do.
I would have gotten a message saying, I'll show you where to find all the balls.
That was the reasoning. Because just to find the ones we didn't get. And I was like, oh, if I go find them, then next time we play, we can
instead
snatch them up.
You went into a game that we can't say what it is or anything, but it's a game that I knew I was going to enjoy. And then you freaking message me right after and you go, dude, it's freaking awesome. And I went, damn it, I knew it. I haven't had an opportunity to get in yet. And I was more excited for it than you. So to hear those,
so much better than I thought it was going to be.
I need to hop into ASAP.
So much better. I'm addicted.
Yeah,
not gonna lie.
We'll say what it is as soon as we can. I never like to talk like that or anything.
So since we're not going to do a rating on the Walkabout,
it's worth it.
2 thumbs up or 1 thumbs up?
2 thumbs up.
I give it 2 thumbs up. Also.
2 thumbs up. Yeah. I mean, honestly, the perfect follow up to Meow Wolf, which is a hard course to follow, like we've already said, but they seem to have picked the perfect one to do it. Complete the Jules Verne course or the Jewel and Verne trilogy, and as always, worth every penny. 16 holes,
dude, never let down.
Easy mode, or not easy, normal mode, 18 holes.
18 holes.
And then hard mode, another 18 holes, so a total of 36 holes in each one of these DLCs for freaking $4 or $5. Come on. That's why I always say 36 holes.
Affordable way to add it to your quiver of games.
Plus the time spent just finding the balls, and then the amount of times you'll go in and replay it.
Well, and then I'm on this kick. I don't want to say what I'm trying to pull off here because I want to tape it all, but I've got more reasons than ever to go back in all the holes.
Walkabout is so good, and this was a fun one too. I
love them, dude.
I caught us wasting a lot of time just social VRing it, for lack of a better term, just hanging out in this course. I don't know. There's a vibe in it that just makes it fun to chill in.
Yeah, I do. I'm hard pressed to.
Yeah, I don't know what else there is to say.
Course, you could talk about the first one ever, and I'd be like, I just feel like I just want to hang. I want to explore.
I don't know what else there is to say. Great follow up to Meow Wolf. Completes the Jules Verne trilogy.
I'll tell you what's to say. We both give it 2 thumbs up. Couldn't like it more if you fucking held a gun to my head.
The gameplay is great. A little bit more traditional than we've seen in some of the wonkier
with a couple
courses.
of new elements.
Yeah,
there's a couple of new elements.
I just think the term traditional, because some people like that little bit more traditional gameplay aspect, and for those that do, like I said, this one really tests the skill of your Walkabout Mini Golf playing with the amount it plays off of.
Perfect change of pace coming off.
Yes, and like I said, ricochet, angle, right amount of power, have fun. Was my worst enemy with, gameplay matchup, but I still enjoyed it so much. So anything else you want to say on this course?
No, if you don't own it, get it. I mean, it's that simple.
I can't wait to see what's next from
I don't know what they're coming out with next, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't own it, get it. And if you buy it day one, come into our Discord and play it day one with a couple of groups of people who will be playing it day one.
And I will say this is one of those rare weeks that we drop one episode. We've yet to miss a week. Since the podcast launched, there's yet to be 7 days without an episode. Holidays, everything like that. But there has been some. We try to at least do 2 per week. But there's been some weeks we just do 1. That's this week as well. We have
work to do.
Yeah, we got some showcase stuff to do to make sure things are ready for February 2nd. So 1 episode this week, but hope you enjoyed the news and the Walkabout Mini Golf discussion. Oh my goodness, we didn't mention this yet, and then we got to wrap things up right away because, like we said, some showcase work to do, but we got a package from Wallace and Gromit. Atlas 5, the developers of it, you know, the new Wallace and Gromit Grand Getaway experience in VR. We got a nice little swag box from them with a nice little pin, which you're instantly like, that's going on my PAX.
That'll be on my PAX lanyard this year.
Yep.
Dude, just the name alone. Get the hell out, dude.
I used to watch these animations all the time.
I remember these, but they actually look better than they did when you were a kid. Huh?
Yeah.
Wallace and Gromit stickers.
Yeah, look how sweet that is.
And this shit's up your alley for sure.
Some nice socks. I love myself some funky socks. Oh, because they're green.
Green screen.
Oh.
Anyways, they're green, right? They're literally green.
They're green. I don't know why I didn't think of that. That's
and
funny.
Same's going to happen with the shirt in a little spot. But
no, actually.
Wallace and Gromit.
Ooh. So huge thank you to Atlas 5 and the Wallace and Gromit team.
That is a studio that knows us well.
Yeah. Well, I always appreciate when we get to. That's always cool. So huge thank you. I'm so glad we remembered to do it. Thank you so much again to our Patreon supporters, both you on the on-air shout-out tier and you on any other tier as well. Again, thank you.
I'll be wearing these socks and shirts soon too, so I'll wear it for an episode.
Thank you to all the Discord people that engage day after day. Make it such a great community. I mean, reality is, without the people posting in it, it's just me and you. And if you just see mine and your name the whole way down, it's a little boring. So it's the people that post in it that make it what it is, that a great non-toxic community. And just in general, thank you to everybody that tunes in week after week and enjoys us, listens. You know, we got a couple new Apple podcast reviews, so that's always cool. Whatever podcast platform you listen on, rate us 5 stars, subscribe, like us on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, all that jazz. Comment, like, share, tell your friends, yell it from the mountains. And other than that, I hope you all have a great rest of your week.
Take care.
Stay tuned. February 2nd, coming at you fast. 99% done. Let's go.